doing? I see that we have a pretty full room. This is amazing. I can't believe we're in November. How did that happen, right? I'm just kind of blown away by the fact that we are already in November and this is the Friendsgiving, right? That we do every year. It's amazing. Anyways, hi everybody, and thanks so much for all of you guys being here tonight. And I am going to just jump right in. One thing I do want to always say is that I am here for you guys to ask questions because the fact that you are even here during this presentation means usually that you are seeking some answers or you want to find a new path or you're just learning new things. So I always tell my kids the best way to learn and the only way to learn is interactivity, is to asking the questions. I am here to be able to help you. It's interesting, this past summer, I took my sons to Japan. We went to Japan for a month. My kids are rock climbers, and Japan is known as literally the strongest competition climbers in the world, and they have the best climbing gyms in the world. And as we were going there, this incredible opportunity opened up to train with literally the best coaches of Japan. It was just complete serendipity. Anyway, so we got there, and my sons, who one is 15, the other one's 21, they're training, and there's another like 20 kids in total. And I told them, I'm like, you have to come up to these coaches. They are here for you. We have them for 2 days. You need to ask them whatever question, but they are here for you. I told them the best question you could ask them is, what do you recommend would be the best way for me to improve? Whatever. I'm like, because none of the other 19 kids are going to do that. But they, first of all, you'll learn because they are here and they want to help you. And secondly, you're going to stand out in their mind. If you want to become pro competitive climbers, you want to stand out in the people who really can make a difference. And guess what? They went up to them. They were the only ones, just as I knew, out of the 20 kids to ask them questions. Because of that, they got extra attention. Why am I telling you this story? I am here because of the same exact reason those coaches were there for my kids. So please, there is no wrong question. Please ask me, and I am so happy to be able to help you, whatever it is. All right. And that's what I really want you guys to fully understand. All right, guys. So let's dive in. And again, please remember, I am here to truly help you. So ask any question you have. And this is me. I am Marina, the Trader Chick. And today, what I want to cover with you is understanding the most important part of the markets. You know what? I could sell you alerts, I could sell you ideas of you making $100,000 in a year, but that's not possible if you don't even understand what you're looking at, right? It's me kind of saying to you, you could be the winner of a Formula One race, yet you don't even know how to do the steering or where the clutch and the brake is, correct? It doesn't matter what others are selling you if you do not understand what you are looking at. And that's what I want to be able to teach you guys today. Once you understand what you are looking at, everything is going to totally fall into place and click. Okay. And that's exactly where we're going to start with today, because I'm not going to sell you pipe dreams or these, $500,000 dreams, which is not true at all until you know what you are doing. So, before we jump in, I want to do an official intro. I am Marina, the Trader Chick. I am an expat mama living in Barcelona. Me and my family have been expats for over 22 years at this point. My kids were born and raised in Central America. My first son was born in Costa Rica. My other son was born in Guatemala. And then we all moved here. Living abroad and raising my kids internationally is probably one of the most rewarding things that I could have ever done. And I'm so grateful for those opportunities. And a lot of people always ask me, oh my goodness, I want to be an expat. How do I do that? And I'm always happy to answer all those questions. Obviously, they are not for day trading purposes only, but you could email me at the Trader Chick. You could just go to my website, contact me, or thetraderchick@gmail.com. And I'm happy to help you guys with all of that because I have made it my life to be an expat and for us to have an incredible tour. Is it true Barcelona residents are fed up with tourists? No, it's not. You get a lot of that via media, right? There's so much media out there that do we really know what's true or what's not true? The reality is that their mayor has to be able to work with Barcelona actual residents, nothing to do with the tourists. It's the anger is actually against the mayor, but we're seeing it in international news as tourists. Barcelona loves tourists. The Catalans, which are because we are in Catalonia, absolutely are I can't even tell you the open armed welcome we have received moving here. So no, it's not true. And if you have any interest in Barcelona, come and visit. It's so fantastic, and you'll be able to see that, right? Are they still like, I don't if they are, it's not prominent. You don't see it at all. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, there's always the Catalans. Yeah, it's just but it's never gonna happen and it's accepted. All right. So I want to tell you guys before I became a day trader, I was a fitness instructor and a travel writer. So why is that even important? Because there's so many people here with this misconception that you have to have a math background, that you have to have a financial background, that you have to have an economic background. None of those things are true. None of those are true. You could come from any walk of life and become a successful day trader. That is the beauty of day trading. You do need to learn how to day trade. You cannot just simply, decide and then the next day go and donate your money to the market. You actually need to, just like anything you would do in life, you have to have a strategy. You have to learn it, right? If you want to be a pilot, you're not going to jump in the plane the next day and take your family on a flight, right? You just can't. That's the beauty of the majority of the industries out there is that there is a learning process. Unfortunately, with the financial markets, there is zero barrier to entry, right? So once you understand that you still need to put in just the understanding and learning what it's about, you will be able to outsmart and master it way more than 98% of the people who pretend they want to be day traders and are either donating their money to really overpriced academies or to just directly to the markets. Okay. The beauty of day trading, you could do this from anywhere. Me and my family travel 3 to 4 months out of the year. We were in Japan for a month. After that, we went to France for almost a month. I just came back from the US that I was there for half a month. Me and my family are going back to Paris for another 3 weeks constantly. We are constantly traveling and day trading allows me to do that. That is the absolute beautiful part of it is the lifestyle that it allows you to have. All right, guys, before I jump into the actual presentation, because I know we only have a limited amount of time together, I have the entire presentation for free for you to be able to follow along. And David always makes replays. So then you can go at your own pace. So please go here right now, makingofadaytrader.com, makingofadaytrader.com. Go here right now and you'll be able to download the entire presentation. Makingofadaytrader.com. All right, so let's dive in. What in the world is day trading and why is it not investing? So, first and foremost, unlike investing, with day trading, you do not want to diversify. I know that it sounds all sexy and beautiful on paper, thinking that if I trade this instrument and trade that market, that you're going to be making a lot of money. Absolutely not. Why? Because when you're day trading, you want to be hyper focused on that particular market, on that particular instrument. So if you're diversifying, what you're basically doing is you're hopping into 4 or 5 or whatever amount of cars or instruments or markets all at the same time and thinking that you could drive them all at the same time on different terrains. Absolutely impossible. It's like a music student. You want to focus on one market. And actually, in the financial markets, we call the majority of the markets or inside markets instruments, ironically. Just think of it like this. Imagine your child or a child comes up to you and says to you, "Hey, I want to learn how to play a musical instrument." And you're like, "Awesome. Which one do you want to learn?" "Well, I want to learn how to play the violin, the drums, the flute, and the piano." And you're looking at them and you're like, "You know what? You should probably just focus on the one instrument because they're all really different. And once you master that one, you'll be able to learn the others." Correct? It's kind of like Liberace. We've all heard of Liberace, right? Love him, hate him, I don't care. The point is, he was a master at the piano. I'm positive if he picked up guitar, he'd probably be pretty great, right? But he knew his magic. And the same thing goes for financial markets, especially when you are day trading. Focus on the one. When you guys can master that one instrument, whichever one you decide to go on, or that one market, then and only then I would recommend that you move on to the next one. And you'll be surprised if you actually learn just the one, you will be able to truly master it. And I have a lot of students that also come to me at first and they're like, "Oh, I want to learn this one and this one." Hold on one second. Learn this instrument or that instrument. Hola. Okay. Sorry, my son just came home. Um, Basically, what happens is they decide to just try out the one market idea and then they end up not going to any other markets because they're making money from that one that they have truly mastered. Okay, so hopefully this guys makes you gives you a better idea of why it is absolutely important to focus on one instrument versus investing. It's really good to have a robust portfolio, correct? Also, the other thing difference, a massive difference with investors versus day traders. Investors actually care about the companies they are investing in. For instance, if you are investing in, let's say, Apple, right? And they just came out with this iPhone 17. So let's pretend you are all excited about their next iPhone 18, which is coming out in whatever, 10 months, right? You're going to be okay with sitting through the highs and lows of the market and of the stock, right? Because you're invested in the company. However, if you're day trading, you are literally in and out of that position in the same day. So you're only going to be looking at that particular movement of that day, right? You won't care what's happening in a week or a month or even 3 months, correct? So that's why it's really important to understand the difference between the two. And also, day traders don't care if the market is going up or if it's tanking, because why? They are following the technical analysis of the markets. And if it's going down, they're going to be shorting it. If it's going up, they're not going to be shorting it, right? They're going to go long. So I want to talk to you guys about some serious myths. All right, because busting the myths is going to make. All right, guys, let's bust some myths of the markets. First and foremost, it's risky, it's gambling. Like I mentioned earlier, if you decide that you want to be a pilot, do you want to go and take a plane out the next day? Do you think that's risky? Absolutely. That's a kamikaze move, right? Like that's a suicide mission. If you manage to even take the plane off, how are you going to be able to maneuver it if you don't know what's going on? It's identical to day trading, right? Just because you say you want to go become day trader and then the next day you go and donate your money to the market and know nothing and you end up losing, that's not risky. That's literally gambling, right? But if you learn a strategy, if you understand why the market is moving in this way, why you are deciding on a certain trade setup, that's not risky. That is strategic. And chances are you will not be losing your money. The other thing is this massive myth, and this is so outdated, that you need $25,000 to get started. Not true at all. Why is that not true anymore? First of all, you could start trading with $50. Secondly, the $25,000 myth actually stems from brokerages giving you margin accounts. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about margin accounts, but margin accounts are literally like loan sharking. I'm going to explain it a little bit more. But basically the brokerage says if you have $25,000, then we are able to give you a margin of whatever amount, 10,000, 25,000 against that 25,000. That's where this myth came about. It doesn't, you could start with whatever amount, and the smaller amount you have, the better, to be quite honest with you. All right. Like I mentioned earlier, this myth that you have to be a math whiz or have a financial economic background. No, not at all. I look at numbers and I get just as overwhelmed and flustered as the rest of you guys probably. I do not even care about numbers because that's not what it's about. It's about technical analysis. It's about learning the patterns and understanding what the markets are doing. And anybody can learn to do that. And you gotta love this one. It's stressful and it's chaotic. Well, if you have this kind of a setup, let me tell you, yeah, absolutely. This is so extremely stressful to look at. First of all, the human mind is incapable of sustaining looking at all these charts. I have one chart and two indicators. One chart, two indicators. This is a lie, what you are looking at. This will give anybody a stress or even a heart attack. Okay, guys, you do not need this. If you have one, two charts maximum, I don't even think two charts are necessary. Okay, really important. The other thing is that you need to buy new softwares and indicators and algorithms. Total lie. What you do need is a good platform, a good day trading platform. Today, there are so many great platforms out there, and they all come with universal indicators that you do not need to pay extra money for. All right. And some platforms are free if they are attached to your broker. Guys, buying software indicators or algorithms is literally the only people making money from them are the ones selling that to you. They are not earning money from the actual markets. They are literally earning money only by selling these to you. Really important for you guys to understand that. And following that next shiny object is only going to make you lose even more money and get you even more frustrated. Having the education, the understanding of how things work, that's where you are going to be the master. Regardless if it's algorithms, if it's AI, it's all still stems from you understanding what is going on. Research and news. This is another humongous myth because buy on the rumor, sell on the news. Okay. The majority of the news is just agendas by these pundits that want to tell you their story, and they have a big platform that they could tell it to you on. And then guess what? None of it is real. You have to look at the technical analysis because doing market research just burns you out at all altogether. I have so many equity traders that come to me that work with me, and they are up at 4:30 in the morning researching the markets, then all day having their charts, and the majority of the times they are losing because what they're learning about the markets isn't really what's happening in the live market because again, it's all about technical analysis. Then after they're done, they usually end up losing, and guess what? Then they end up sitting up and doing more research. And by like 3 or 4 months, they are so burnt out and their accounts are empty because that's not where you want to be looking at. You want to be understanding technical analysis and what is happening right in front of you. And you don't need to know about the markets because if the market is tanking, you can still make a lot of money. The market is going up, you can still do the same. Day trading, that's the beauty of it. All right, this is a real thing. Trigger happiness, a real thing. When I began trading, I'm now trading almost, I'm going on 14 years. The first 2 years, I was in a 2 hour session. I probably was taking like 40 to 60 trades. No joke. First of all, I was get eaten alive on the commissions alone. Secondly, I wasn't making any money at all. Why? Because this isn't real. One thing that I did realize when I finally became a professional trader is that pro traders are very similar to big game hunters. And I'm not condoning hunting, but what is the real reason why they are so similar? When a big game hunter goes out hunting for the day, are they going to be shooting at any rodent or any insect? No, they're going to sit and they're going to wait for the big game. That is the beauty of it. Pro traders have strong setups that they go for the really powerful trades. And if they take 2 to 3 really powerful trades, they end up making way more money than doing the trigger happy thing. Okay. And actually, I even have a challenge for all my students before they go live to just take one trade per day. And that's when they start to recognize all the really useless trades that they were going after before and really filtering out for the powerful trades. Now, the most radical way to trade is conservatively, right? Hang on 1 second. Because small profits daily gives you big profits yearly, because those aggressive big moves that you hear people take making all this money, you don't actually hear the other side of the coin. What is that? Their big losses. And a lot of times their big losses outweigh their wins, just so that you guys know the reality of it. However, if you have the small profits daily, you're gaining your confidence, you are winning. That is how you actually become consistent and profitable and have this as your career, as your livelihood. All right, FOMAT. This is a term that I personally coined myself. So, what is FOMAT? Fear of missing a trade. I'm sure you guys have heard of the term FOMO, fear of missing out. So, fear of missing a trade is also a reality. People they think they just saw a trade and they start to chase that trade. They jump in. By the time they jump in, it's already reversed. Then it becomes all an emotional thing. So they lose money. Then they go into revenge trading, and it's a domino effect, right? So think of it like this. Imagine you want to go surfing, right? Imagine you're at the beach and you want to go surfing and you're getting your wetsuit on, you're getting your surfboard ready, and then you see a couple of really great waves that are passing. Are you going to jump on your surfboard and run in and try and catch those waves? No. You know that there's going to be 100 other great waves coming, right? It's the same thing with trading. There is 100 other fantastic trades coming. If you miss one, don't sweat it. There's more coming. All right. So let's talk about what to trade. Because, like I mentioned earlier about the markets, what markets are there? You cannot be going into all the markets, right? You need to strategize. You need to get hyper focused. That is the only true way you are going to really earn money and become successful. So let's just break down some of these markets. First of all, Forex, right? Foreign exchange. We all heard of this. What exactly is it? It's pairing two different currencies, one with the other, right? The most popular one, obviously, is the US and the Euro, but there's many others, right? The US and the yen. Again, you don't want to go into too many pairs. Why? Because it's learning all the different intricacies of each country. And usually it has nothing to do with the country, but just the leaders. And you never know which way the leader is going to go that day. So when you only choose maybe one or two, that's your best bet. Equities. I love this one, right? When I ask people, so what are you trading? Oh, I trade stocks. There are 5,000 equities on the US market alone. You're telling me that you're just trading stocks? Come on. But when you ask a pro trader, they're going to tell you either a sector. Oh, I'm really into the entertainment sector and the technology sector, into the pharmaceutical sector. They really focus in and hone in on that. Or even better, focusing on one specific position, right? For instance, obviously we all know Amazon, Meta, Nvidia, all of these, they're fantastic if you want to just focus on the ones to trade up or down. Tesla, I mean, these stocks go up and down amazingly. There's so much volatility and movement. Okay? So it's really all right. So again, get really hyper focused and then really learn that market. And that's when you start to master it. Futures, that's the other thing. I personally am a futures trader, but I don't say that. I am an E-mini trader. What does that mean? E-minis are the S&P 500 on the futures market. So if somebody says to me, oh, I trade futures, I'm like, so are you trading soy, E-minis, Russell, wheat? What are you trading? You guys need to get specific, right? Because again, you can't be in wheat, sugar, and soy Why? Because they're so different. The markets are so unique, and even the people who are professionally in them are trading differently. So you have to learn how that is all run. Okay, options as well. You really need to focus on which options you want to be in. And crypto. So crypto is a fantastic market, right? It's so versatile, but it could be super erratic. Okay. And again, you want to be able to focus on the right crypto or project. And there's over 6,000 of them, right? Bitcoin is one out of so many. So just really understand what you want to do. Now, this is bringing us to the demystification of brokers because the amount of people that I get saying to me, okay, I got a brokerage account. I'm ready to start trading. I'm like, okay, great. Well, what do you want to trade? And that's when they're like, well, I don't know yet. Why is this important? Because if you want to be in the crypto market, do you want to be with an equities broker? No. Why? One, they're going to be charging you ridiculous commissions. Two, they're not going to be good for you, right? They're charting softwares, their feed, it's not going to be specialized. So it's really important for you to first to learn which ones what do you want to trade before you find the correct broker. All right, once you find that out, great, then you could truly get in. Now I want to talk to you about a margin account. What are margin accounts? Like I mentioned earlier, they are loan sharkings, right? They make it sound, brokers make margin accounts sound like a perk, but it's not a perk. Okay, it is literally them lending you money. So let's say you have $25,000 and they gave you a margin account of $10,000. So basically, they're saying once you use up your $25,000 on buying whatever you're buying, we'll lend you another 10,000 for you to buy. You're thinking that you have access to this money, but guess what? Win or lose, they want that money back and they want interest on top of it. You do not need a margin account. You tell them, I don't want it. It is not obligatory and you do not want to have it. It's really important to understand this, okay? And this happens very often with crypto that people are 10xing. It's just they're borrowing the money and it's wrong. You cannot be doing this, okay? Just use the money that you have and always start with a small account. It's really important to start with a small account. All right. Now, when you understand what you want to be trading, then you can obviously have the best commissions. Again, I'm going to go back to it. If I want to be trading equities, do I want to be on a crypto exchange? No, even if that crypto exchange kind of offers me capability to trade equities, they're going to be charging me a higher commission because that's not their specialty, right? I want to be with an equities broker where not only will I get the best commissions, chances are I might even get them for free. The same thing goes for crypto, futures. You need to focus on that. And also, when you realize what you want to trade, then you also will be getting the best live feed and the best quotes because you don't want to be a delayed feed, right? What happens with delayed? That means that you're not really trading live, right? It's a 20-minute delay feed. You're not really live, and that's not really good, right? Basically, what happened, the way to understand that is if you're a Formula One driver and you have delayed feed, you started 20 minutes after everybody else, and you're always 20 minutes behind everybody else. You don't want that. Platforms. This is so important, guys. You cannot be a Formula One racer in a minivan, right? But you certainly can in the proper vehicle. You cannot be a professional day trader if you are with some rinky dink platform or an app on your phone. This is where you really need to find the right platform. When I began trading almost 14 years ago, there was four. There was only four platforms, which made it obviously quite easy. But today there are like 30 different ones. So a lot of them are very similar. I would just really choose the ones that work best with what you want to trade. And take the time to learn them. Oh my goodness, the amount of people that end up losing money in the live market because they are learning with live money their platforms because they don't understand how to use them. You can learn every platform in simulation mode. It is crucial to understand what you are trading, how you are trading, and the equipment that you are using to trade. Take that time. Please learn. Now let's go into day trading lingo. Everything in this universe that we are doing, every job, every hobby, it has its own lingo, right? As I mentioned earlier, my kids and my husband are really, really into rock climbing. I'm just their groupie, I'm their fan, but when I listen to them speak, it's almost like a different language, even though they're speaking English. But because they have their own vernacular, they have their own vocabulary, to talk about it, right? My husband used to be really into mountain biking and kung fu. Again, it was also very different. Day trading also has a very specific language. You need to understand that language. And so many people I'm seeing that are actually putting money into the markets don't even know the basics. So let's review some of the basic words. Intraday trading. It's literally being in and out of all of your positions in the same day, not to hold overnight. Why is this important? Why does this matter? Number one, the most important reason is because if you are day trading, you do not want to be looking at a 1 week chart. You want to be looking at a 5 minute chart or an hour chart, right? If you're investing, then you could look at a 3 month chart, but you don't want to be looking at a 5 minute chart if you are investing in a longer term, right? You have to understand that because time frames really make a difference. Bull market is going up, but that's all there is to understand about that. Bear market, the market is going down. Don't overthink it. There's not much more to it. It's basic stuff. Trends. So everybody understands that there's an upward trend and a downward trend. But the reality is the sideways trend is probably the most important one because this is where the majority of the money is usually always lost. It's in that sideways trend. All right. So you guys have to understand these. Now, this is so, so important. We all know what about risk management, right? We all understand the concept that you have to have a risk management, you have to have a risk in place. You first of all, you cannot have a mental risk in place, right? As saying it's a mental stop is like saying you're gonna have a mental seatbelt on your child and save them during a car accident, right? I mean, it's ludicrous, but people do that. But interestingly enough, you also have to have a profit target in place. It has to be already in place when you enter the market. Why? Because greed will always win over. Ego will always take over. So if you don't have a profit target in place, what's going to happen? The market is going to be moving in your direction. You're going to be looking at and being like, all right, this is the profit that I want to go, but it's continuing. It's continuing. I'm going to remove the profit. And guess what? Right where you removed it, where you would have been filled and made money, it turns on you. And then you're starting to get stopped out. But because now your ego is telling you, oh, it's going to reverse. It's going to reverse. You've removed your stop and now you've lost your entire account. You need to have these in place to be able to make money. That is the difference with pros and amateurs. And again, if you don't have a good, strong chart to be able to give you this place where you could automate your profit targets and your stops, you're not going to be doing well. Okay, this is literally the holy grail of the markets. And your indicators. I've mentioned this many times and I'm going to say it again. Good platforms have free universal indicators that are already there. They are already there for you. Okay, you do not need to be spending any more money at all because the indicators are right there. All right. Trending markets, like I mentioned earlier, upward trend, downward trend, sideways trend, also known as the channel, as the exhaustion pattern, as the consolidation, transition, indecision, whatever it's called. But just remember, the sideways trend is the most important trend to truly understand. All right, guys, buying, going long. All that means is that you're entering the market at a lower price point, exiting at a higher price point, and taking the profit in between. That's it. Selling, shorting the market. This is when you're entering at a higher price point, exiting at a lower price point, and you're taking the money in between. You are selling, shorting the market. All right, market entries. This is when, okay, so what makes the biggest difference between an amateur trader and a pro trader is market entries, market exits, and market, yeah, exits could be profit or stops. What is a market entry? It's basically telling the market that you really don't know what you're looking at, but it looks like it could be a good idea to enter right here and let me chase this and boom, I'm in. So when the market sees that, it gives you a fine. It actually fines you. It's called slippage. Slippage is almost 20% of what you are putting in. For instance, if you want to put it in at a certain price point, you are putting it at 20% over that right away because you're doing a market entry. The same with a market exit. If you want to get out, you're going to lose an extra 20%. That's why it is absolutely critical to have a profit target where you're telling the market where you want to get out as a profit, a stop limit where you're telling the market where you want to get out, all you're willing to risk, and also where you want to order. Putting it in, it's called a limit order. It is called a order weighting. You are telling the market, this is the price point that I want to enter. And I'm going to go back to the stop limit because, again, we all put in mental stops in the beginning. But until you realize that you have control over what you are willing to risk, that's when you could put in the stop limit and walk away. But that happens when you have a strong strategy. And then you don't have to even consider the extra 20% that you'll be losing on top of that. Super, super important. All right, I've been talking about technical analysis for quite some time. Let's dive into technical analysis because this makes all of the difference in the world. Technical analysis is using your indicators with the areas, divergences, reversal patterns, understanding what the market is saying to you. One of the strongest technical analysis that you could possibly have are areas of resistance and support. Absolutely critical to understand the difference and even more important to draw them in. In trading, we have a saying, everything is to the left. What does that mean? It means that by the time you are entering the market on the right side, right? Because everything is at the right, you are fully aware what is happening on the left because you have drawn in the areas, you have understood why you are entering the market. I see so many people just entering and nothing is written on the left side. When you are in a live trade with your real live money on the line, your heart is pumping the same adrenaline as a Formula One racer. But the difference between you and them is that they are prepared. They have done the work to be strategic in their world. But when you don't have anything to the left because you're just donating your money to the market, guess what? Your adrenaline is going to be through the roof and you're not going to know why you entered that market. And that's when you're going to start the praying and hoping, which obviously doesn't work ever. So you need to be prepared. Resistance areas. It is when the market is started to hit a certain area 3 or 4 more times, a ceiling. This is the resistance area. You need to draw that in. Support area is the exact opposite, is when the market is going down and it starts to hit the market over and over again 3 or more times. That is the floor of the market. Reversal patterns. To me, reversal areas are my absolute favorite. This is the double top, triple top, head and shoulders. I absolutely adore them. Is it telling me that the market is going to reverse? No. But what it is telling me, really high probability that the market is either fully slowing down, completely losing its strength, or about to reverse entirely. So when I see those areas, I'm out of the market because I know this is not a market that I want to be in. And it's so simple to spot these areas. This is the technical analysis. And my other absolute favorite, and these are all free, by the way. This is free. You do not need to be spending extra money on any of this when you have the proper software, the proper platform. Divergence. I love divergence. So as you can see here, my price action is going in one direction. And if you look at the red dots, that is my MACDs. I personally love the MACDs because it is the least lagging indicator I find, but my MACDs are very distinctly show me that they're going in an opposite direction. They are being divergent. What does that mean? It means that the market is losing its strength. I never want to be in a weaker market. I want to wait for the divergence to clear up, and maybe it's going to show me that it's going in the opposite direction altogether, right? So this is the beauty of understanding all of this. So let's put all this together. Like I mentioned earlier, I have the entire presentation for free, making of a daytrader.com. Go here to get it right here. Okay, and I see that there's a couple of questions here. Which brokerage is using all those monitors? No, those monitors are some person bought those monitors. A brokerage has nothing to do with monitors. A brokerage can offer you a platform, a software, but they'll never offer you different monitors. That's a human being thinking that they could do that, and it's unsustainable. Um, how reliable are the major indicators? Absolutely incredibly reliable. So that's another thing about indicators, guys. We watch all these gurus, and there's so many popular indicators, and I used to have 10 indicators, 3 monitors. I was dying. I was always under analysis paralysis, and I realized that the really popular ones like Fibonacci's, Kettler's, Bollinger Bands, they don't work for me. I now am down to just EMA lines and MACDs. So you could decide which ones work best for you. Okay? So let's put all this together. Let's talk about the breakout trade, because the breakout trade is the most powerful trade out there. But if you don't know what you're looking at, how are you going to be able to see the breakout, right? So you need to have your resistance area or support area in place to see the breakout. What is a breakout? So the market could be going in one direction, and all of a sudden it goes flat. Remember that horrible sideways market, that indecision zone? You need to draw it out. You can't just, again, put a mental idea of that as being a sideways market. You need to draw it in. And then when it breaks through and continues in the same direction, that's the breakout trade. So that is how I spot the breakout trades. I have them all drawn in. Now, if you look at my MACDs, that's the red dots on the bottom, you'll see that there is a black dashed line. The black dashed line is the zero mark. That means that there is absolutely no strength in the market. And as you can see, the resistance area, it's really, really weak altogether. However, when I have the breakout, look at that boom on the MACDs, including my price action. There's no divergence. This is when I know this is a powerful, high probability trade. All you have to do is understand. And once you see these areas, and the cool thing about it, they're really easy to spot. Once you know what you're looking at, you'll be able to outline them, draw them in, and really work with them. And they're free. All right, guys, here's the thing. We have absolutely everything we need to take action. We have everything we need to take action, right? We have these amazing presentations. We have YouTube videos. We have podcasters. We have books. We have academies, chat rooms. We have all this. But at the end of the day, how do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know that you are doing it right? Because all of this is great. The real question, though, you're probably asking yourself is, how do I get started? How do I even get started? And this isn't from beginners only. It's interestingly enough, this is more questions that I get from seasoned traders who decide that they want to work with me because they have been inconsistent, losing money, and they ask me, how do I turn this around to be profitable consistently? And usually it boils down to simply lacking understanding of the basics. Because I always say, the thing is with day trading is that we're constantly putting in our windows, but we've never built our walls, and the windows just keep on falling and crashing, right? We're putting in these trades, but we don't really understand and have the foundation of why we're doing it, and they're constantly being stopped out because we don't have the foundation built to hold them in place, right? If we have the walls, the foundation, and we start to put in our windows, they stay there, right? That's the basics. It's understanding this. Imagine getting into a car and not having any idea what you are doing, right? You're not even gonna, maybe you'll find the ignition and turn it on, but do you know where the clutch is? Do you know where the brake is? Do you know how to release the clutch when the brake, with the brake at the same time, and shift gears? These are basics, right? We get in our cars today and it's just second nature to us today. But at one point, we learned the strategy of driving. And there is a very important strategy, one so much so that it saves our lives, correct? Imagine this. Imagine somebody got into a car. They've never been in a car before. And you tell them, all right, buckle up your seatbelt. It's going to save your life. And they've never seen a seatbelt. They don't even know what a seatbelt is. And they're worried. They're like, oh my goodness, what is this that's going to save my life? But once you show it to them, they know, right? Because none of us are born with this information. We learn it. And once we learn it, that's when we truly are able to use it, right? And utilize it. And this was my own personal sad truth for years. I spent over $20,000 on my own trainings. No joke. I've been through academies, privates, summits, conferences, you name it. And every time I was asking questions or in chat rooms, and just because I was struggling all the time, just asking basic questions. Please explain to me, what is this divergence? What is this reversal pattern? Can you explain what's happening? I was either treated like I was supposed to be born with that information or ignored altogether. Right. And because of that, I ended up losing almost $4,000 in 5 minutes because at this point I was just following somebody else's trades that I had no idea why they were taking that trade. But if they were taking the trade, then maybe it's the right trade. And of course it wasn't because I was chasing that trade. So it was all wrong. And I ended up losing almost $4,000 in 5 minutes. But this wasn't my first time. Right? At this point, I was already losing. It was just horrible. I felt like such a defeated loser that I ended up quitting. I literally walked away. This was about 12 years ago. I walked away. I quit. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm just losing my family's money. It was horrible. But here's the thing, guys. And I know that everybody in the room that is sitting here right now, we are all bit by the trading bug and it never stops itching. Am I right? Right? Because why does it never stop itching? Because deep down inside, we know that we can do this. I quit. I quit for about 4 or 5 months, but I remember still following some people, watching and saying to myself over and over again, saying to myself, you know what? If they could do this, so can I. So can I. And that's when I decided to get back to the basics. I had 3 monitors. It was horrible. 3 monitors. I donated 2 almost brand new high definition monitors to my garbage men. And I had 10 indicators. I removed them all. I went to bare naked charts. And then slowly I started to back test the indicators that really worked for me. And I realized that only 2 are really my sweet spot. And then I started to truly focus on the basics. And I did this for over a year. I back tested, I really, really focused, hyper focused on the different trade setups that it became natural to me. I started to really strategize really well and be able to spot the trades. It wasn't just, oh, this looks good. No, there was a reason behind it all. And I remember a couple years ago, one of my students says to me, he's like, Marina, your philosophy and teaching is really similar to Coach John Wooden. And I was like, who's this guy, Coach John Wooden? I never heard of him before. And of course, I searched him online, and he was a legendary coach. Legendary. I mean, this guy had 88 national championships, 10 NCAAs, but his entire teaching and coaching philosophy was when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy trained A-star basketball players and they were winning. They were literally he's a dynasty to this day. But it did not matter how many national championships or NCAAs they won. Whenever they started the season, the ego was put aside and he would take them back to the basics: how to tie your shoe, how to roll up your sock, how to dribble the ball. Why? because it doesn't matter what you've done. If you're on that court, your shoe is untied, you could get a blister. Even worse, you could sprain your ankle and be out for the rest of the season. You need to know the basics. And today I have a very special offer for only the people who are here today. My introductory course, Bootcamp for Day Trading. You could do this on any apparatus, phones, tablets, desktops, laptops, you name it. All of this one time fee, $97. Now, I want you guys to go with me right here, right now, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go with me right now to bootcampfordaytrading.com so that you can follow along with me and see exactly what you get for this $97. And it is a one-time fee. You are not going to get charged anything ever again. So, what does $97 bring you on investment today? Do you guys like to play golf? 97 bucks won't even buy you one person entry. You want to go to have a nice lunch with your friends? I just came back from the States. $97 could barely is barely a breakfast for two people today. Okay? I'm just letting you know all you guys will get for this $97 will be 100x with the education. So let's break this down. First of all, I know there's so many different platforms out there and they feel like they could be a real bottleneck. I have a tutorial to get you guys set up and going so that boom, you are trading and don't have to worry about it. We will be dissecting the markets, understanding upward trends, sideways, downward trend, truly maximizing the reversals and divergences so that you really understand them and have tons of aha moments. Also, really working with the telltale signs, support resistance areas. I love support and resistance areas. They have saved me so many times, but if you don't know how to spot them, you're not going to be able to utilize them. All right, and divergences. To me, divergence is my holy grail. They're so easy to spot and they have saved me so many bad out of so many bad trades and given me opportunities for amazing ones. And the breakout trade. You will be mastering the most potent trade out there, mastering the breakout and avoiding the fake out breakouts. All right, because once you can figure that out, bam, you are golden and you'll have access to this curriculum for life. It doesn't matter if you want to wait until after the holidays to get started, no problem. All this is valued at $1,600. And here's what some of my students from all over the world have to say. Best money I've ever spent. I'm finishing up the boot camp. Best money. You're the only mentor that truly checks the work. I am enjoying the boot camp and learning every day. But here's something super, super, super important, guys. Remember when I asked you, how do you know you are doing it right? How do you know you're doing it right? Who's there for you to be accountable with? So, what I'm adding in that one time price of $97, nothing extra, you're going to get one entire month of one on one mentorship and coaching with me. One on one, you have a unlimited amount of questions, feedbacks. We could go over your charts, everything included in this one time fee. That is priceless alone because having a mentor will truly take you to that next level. And I also have a live trade chat room that you will have free membership for one entire month. Everything we'll be learning will be implemented in the live market. That is on top of the 1 month of working with me as well. $97 bootcampfordaytrading.com. Let's go to here right now. Chuck, having my location has no bearing on this course. I have students from all over the world. That's the beauty of trading. So that's the beauty of this course. You could do it from anywhere in the world. So guys, just take a few seconds and go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. And I see that David put in to the chat box right here, the link to it as well. Here's everything that you'll be getting in this course. 30 days, one-on-one mentorship with me. You guys tell me when is the right time with you, and we work together. 30 days live chat room as well, and that is in Eastern time. All of this is worth less than price of one trade. I don't know about you guys, but my trades are usually between $200 to $400. This is $97. You will 10x your return on your investment and go out to 100 of these lunches or dinners with your family and friends. The thing is, though, because I offer the mentorship, I only have 25 spots available. And judging by this room, which is a full house, I usually get sold out pretty quickly. So, again, this is only offered to you guys right here. So, let's go to here, bootcampfordaytrading.com. This is the actual right here, the actual link direct. And this is the order form. As you can see, one-time payment, $97. If you really want to do a payment plan, I have for 2 times $59, but you get access automatically to everything in the course, and you decide when you want to start to work with me. I know the holidays are coming up, so a lot of people buy at this price point, and then after the holidays is when you can start the mentorship with me or even the live chat room. You decide, that starts whenever you are ready. But normally I sell this for $297. So you're getting almost 60% off of this course. So let's go here together right now. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. You could go right here, bootcampfordaytrading.com. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. This is the time for you to ask me all of your questions and everything. So please let me know. I'm really, really excited for you guys to join and any questions you have. And I know that there's quite a few people that always have questions about being an expat, living in different countries. And like I said earlier, you are welcome to ask me as well. You could go directly to my website as well, The Trader Chick, and you could just ask me right here. You could just send me a contact or thetraderchick@gmail.com. You could write to me as well. All right, guys, let me know if there's any questions or anything at all. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking your time to be here with me today. And thank you so much, David, for having me join you guys. I really, really appreciate it. It's always such a joy. Thanks, everybody.